Bestie, if you feel like budgeting isn't working for you, it's probably because you're doing it wrong. No one ever tells us the truth about how to make a budget actually work for real life. Let's fix that. In today's episode, we are going to be discussing the biggest mistakes that people make when they're budgeting, what actually makes a budget realistic and sustainable, and examples of what works and what doesn't.
Where are we going?
To where the money grows.
The biggest mistake that most people make when they're budgeting is that they see their budget as a restriction instead of control over their money. And that means that budgeting is not about saying no to everything that is fun. Budgeting is about aligning your money with the things that you actually want in your life. Your long-term goals, your aspirations, and what you want your future to look like. And something that happens often is that a lot of people would just copy and paste a budget template, like maybe something that they find online, without actually tailoring that budget to their actual life. An example of this is somebody that follows a rule: only spend $50 a week on groceries, but then they overspend every week because their lifestyle requires that they spend $100 a week on groceries. And so instead of feeling like they failed, they should adjust their budget to match their reality. Your budget should be tailored to your own specific needs and not based on somebody else's rules. Number 2, tracking your expenses is more important than budgeting itself.
Ooh.
A lot of people will create a budget for themselves, but then they will actually track where their money is going, where their money is actually going. A budget is an idea, it's a plan for where your money is going to go, but if you don't track to see where it actually went, the plan is really, it's futile, fugazi. This means that you can't stick to a budget if you don't track where your money actually goes. Instead of starting with a budget, start with an audit of your spending. Look at the previous 3 months to see where your money is actually going. And so an example of this is somebody setting aside a budget of $150 a month for shopping expenses, but then when they go back and check their spending history, they see that they've actually spent $300 a month when it comes to small purchases on Amazon, on Target, at Starbucks. It's not about creating the perfect budget. It's about having awareness of where your money actually goes. And the third thing is that your budget should be something that is fluid. It is something that should change with you as the situations in your life change. A lot of people will create a static budget and they force it to fit forever, regardless of changes in their income, priorities, lifestyle. An example of this is if you get a raise. This is the perfect time to see, like, okay, do I want to start investing more? Do I want to start saving more? Or do I want to upgrade my lifestyle? Another example of this is if you start working remotely, because the cost of your commute would go down and you would be able to, for example, set money aside for a fun fund for social outings. And this brings us to point number 4, the fun fund. The fun fund is important because a lot of times people create a budget that is so restrictive that they end up binge spending later because they feel so deprived. An example of this is somebody who loves makeup but completely cuts it out of their budget. A month later, they feel deprived and they end up spending $200 at Sephora. Instead, if they had a $50 or even $100 a month makeup budget, they would be able to buy the things that they want regularly without feeling deprived and without any guilt. Lastly is that a budget will not allow you to build wealth. You need a bigger plan. Budgeting is a tool that allows you to manage your money, but it doesn't really grow it. That means that budgeting is step 1 when it comes to building wealth. In order to build wealth, you need to invest your money, whether it is a retirement fund, stocks, the list goes on. You also need side hustles or extra form of income. And lastly, you need a debt payoff strategy. An example of this is somebody who budgets perfectly, whatever that means, and they keep their money in a checking account for 10 years. Meanwhile, another person invests the same amount of money in an index fund. After 10 years, the person that has been investing their money into an index fund will have way more money than the person that's just keeping their money in a checking account. This means that budgeting is great, but if you're not investing or growing your money, you're really just saving your money to spend it later. And of course, since budgeting is step number 1 when it comes to building wealth, if you want to get better at budgeting, keeping track of your finances, knowing where your money is going, check out my Notion Money Mastery Toolkit, link in the description down below. In the meantime, do not forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.